Welcome! I'm Kyle in the Sanctuary, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel, Pleasure Den of the Absurd. Right before shooting this video, this idea came to me. I've never seen it on YouTube before, so I figured, well, it'll give me some content to put up right away. So here's an idea. There's some bands that I really enjoy, and there's some songs of theirs that I prefer the studio version as opposed to a released live version. And also vice versa. I enjoy the live version more than the studio version. And then there's some I can't decide. It's a tie. So what band better to put this to the test to than Led Zeppelin? I love Led Zeppelin, and they're known for their great live act and their great studio recordings. A lot of people say Jimmy Page is kind of sloppy live, and that may be that might be proven true in some regards, but not all the time. So I'm just figured I'd go album by album. I got my stuff here, and for those of you old school subscribers, this is the original camera angle from when I started this channel way back in August of 2022. My 2-year anniversary of being on YouTube is coming up. And, ironically, the first video I ever did on this channel was a ranking of the Led Zeppelin studio albums. And I did a re-ranking on my 1-year anniversary. And I'm going to continue that tradition for my 2-year anniversary. Will it be the same as last year? I don't know. As I've stated before, my interest in those albums is pretty fluid. But let's get back to tonight's topic. Studio versus live. Which do I prefer more? Now, we're not going to go song for song, but I'm going to pick some songs here. So, from the first album, Dazed and Confused. The studio version, very iconic. I mean, as much as I've heard it through the years, there's just something about it, I guess. I mean, I have this love-hate relationship with it. But now I'm thinking of the studio version. You know, I'm having fond memories of it. You know, it's very iconic, and you know, like when they do Dazed and Confused on Song Remains the Same, man, you know, I don't mind it being, you know, damn near half an hour. So that one, I'm gonna give it a tie on that one. The Black Mountain Side, I think I would prefer the studio version as compared to live. I mean, how many more times? And I Can't Quit You, Baby. I mean, I would say those are much better live than on that studio album. Next up, Led Zeppelin 2. Let's see what we got on here. What Is and What Should Never Be came to my mind, and that was performed live on this DVD. Man, that one's a tie. I think they're both great to listen to. Heartbreaker. Now that one was performed live a lot. There's some good versions live, so that one I'll just give a tie to. They could be hit or miss with the Heartbreakers live, but for the most part they're on point. All right, so let's move on. Put that there. Led Zeppelin 3. Well, the Immigrant Song, man, you know, as frenetic and interesting as the live versions are, you know, that studio version, man, just has that studio magic that can't be recreated live, man. I might go with Immigrant Song's studio version on this one. Celebration Day. I love the live version on Song Remains the Same. I do love it live, but can't beat the studio version. It's just all those guitars and everything. Since I've Been Loving You, there's another one. That one, whew, you know, there's some great versions live on the Song Remains the Same. It's really good. So that one I might. Well, you know what? I'm going to say that one's a tie because studio version is really good. All right. So we'll put that here. Ooh, Led Zeppelin 4. Ooh, Black Dog. That was performed live a lot. I'm going to have to go with the studio version. You know, Black Dog live is kind of like Voodoo Child's Slight Return live by Jimi Hendrix. Can't beat the studio version, you know. I mean, you know, there's good live versions, but I prefer the studio version. Rock and Roll. Ooh, there's one. That's tough. I might go for the studio version. I mean, there's some pretty good live versions, I guess. I just can't think of one that stands out in my head right now. The one from Song Remains the Same? No. There you go. Stairway to Heaven. I'll go with the studio version every time. I mean, you know, there's some good live versions out there. But, you know, again, none really come to my head right away. But that studio version is good. Yeah, that's all I can really think of from that one. Again, we're not going track by track. We're just throwing out a few, you know, trying to make this quick. Houses of the Holy. Oh man, great studio album. Probably my favorite. So this one, you know, they did a lot of tracks live now. And this is what really kind of gave me the germ of the idea, because I really love The Song Remains the Same and the Rain song from The Song Remains the Same. But the studio versions are really good. But these two live versions, I might like just a little bit more, especially with the Rain song. I mean, I think it was done. I'd rather listen to the live version. I can't say I'd rather listen to it, but I like them both. They're so different, you know, because with the studio version, you get all those extra instruments and everything. But raw, live, oh man, they're so good. So I might go for the live versions of The Song Remains the Same and the Rain song. Over the Hills and Far Away, man. And I could not find it. I got the BBC sessions here, but I couldn't find How the West Was Won. That is a great live document. And so Over the Hills and Far Away, well, it is an extra on The Song Remains the Same DVD. I'm going to give that one a tie because they are very similar live and in the studio, and I think they're both great. The other one here, well, Dancing Days, another one of my all-time favorite Zeppelin songs. Love the studio version, but there is a kick-ass live version on How the West Was Won. I'm going to give that one a tie. I think I equally love them both. And then there's The Ocean, which is an extra, again, on The Song Remains the Same bonus DVD. Man, that's a tie. They're both great. They're both great. I mean, they're not that too far dissimilar from each other, you know. So, oh boy, Physical Graffiti. And this is another reason why I wanted to do this. In My Time of Dying, you know, I like the live version they did at Earl's Court that's on this DVD. I'd probably listen to that one, you know, more than the studio version. So I think that one I'm going to give live. You know, record one, Physical Graffiti, I do enjoy. I mean, I like Custard Pie, love The Rover, love Houses of the Holy, Kashmir's classic, but I don't like revisit it a lot. Record two, with sides 3 and 4, that might actually be my favorite Zeppelin disc. I would put it on par with House of the Holy, you know. But as far as this one goes, the only other ones they really did live was 10 Years Gone, and I'd go with the studio version of 10 Years Gone over the one they did at Nebworth. It was horrible. Here's another one that made me want to do this video. Man. The one on here was Nobody's Fault But Mine. You know, they do it at Nebworth. Great concert footage, you know, on here, this DVD from Nebworth, but I'm going to have to go with the studio version. I mean, all those extra subtle guitars and everything, just, you can't beat it. I mean, you know, and that's, you know, sometimes those studio versions have the edge on it, but then sometimes, you know, playing it raw live, that's got the edge on it. But studio version, In My Time of Dying, Nobody's Fault But Mine, wins. Achilles' Last Stand. Ooh, man. That one, I'm going to say, is probably a tie. The live version from Nebworth is, you know, just astounding. But it, you know, the studio track is great too. I don't know, that one I just have to say a tie. Maybe the live version might inch it out just a little, but I'm gonna call it a tie on that one. Last up, In Through the Outdoor. Oh man, they never really did too many live versions of this. In the Evening, they performed live. Studio version wins on that. Hot Dog. I think Hot Dog, very controversial song in the Led Zeppelin catalog. I'm going to say the studio version wins. I just never really heard a version of Hot Dog that is better than the studio version, okay? All My Love, studio version wins on that. I mean, they played it on their 1980 tour, and if you've ever heard any recordings of that, I mean, they put in a pretty good effort, but there's no way it can meet the majesty of the studio recordings. But yeah, song remains the same. Album gets overlooked. I love side 1. I love Celebration Day live, but I prefer the studio version. But it's a kick-ass version. Rock and roll's okay, you know. It's decent, but, you know, I love the Song Remains the Same and the Rain song. Days of Confused is cool. No Quarter. Ooh, I forgot about No Quarter. Oh, man. The live versions. Well, I'll just tell you a real quick story about No Quarter. I had bought this album in Bergenfield, New Jersey. And, you know, it was a bootleg. And I'm like, wow, what's this Zeppelin album I've never seen? You know, it had this like Xerox, you know, paper cover, you know, and No Quarter was like 45 minutes long. It took up one whole side and like half of the other. And you know, good versions. There's good versions live. I mean, studio version is really good. Ooh, that one I might give to the studio version. I mean, there's some good versions out there, but overall, you know, the Song Remains the Same one is pretty good. But I don't know, it fluctuates, but I'll give it to the studio version. So that was just an idea I had for a band, you know. If you want to play along too, you know, give me a specific live song of Zeppelin that you think is better than the studio version, or which one is a tie for you. And this can apply to any other band that you enjoy. I think I might. I was thinking I might do it for Hendrix too. Who knows? But we'll see. Anyway, we're going old school tonight. The original angle from when I first started this channel, unedited, one take, screw ups and all, no titles, no transitions, no edits, whatever. Let's just throw it up there. We got the idea. Let's take it and run with it. So, if you like this video, give it a like. If you got some ideas about studio versus live Zeppelin, put it in the comments. You know, and if you like what we do here, check out some of my older videos. Subscribe to the channel. Don't miss out on the fun. Join in on the fun. And never be afraid to step into the pleasure den of the absurd.